What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another brand new video here today. We're back for the final round of Apex Online Racing Oceania Season 5 here today on the PS4. Coming into this, not going to lie, I was confident that I could win the race. I felt like I definitely had the race pace to do so, but one thing was definitely playing into the back of my mind, and that is that Darren is back for the final race, and he said it himself, he's only back because Pete is not winning. And I'm not going to lie, when I heard that, that really pissed me off, because I wanted to settle things with Pete 1v1 and see who the true champion was, but apparently that's not the way that this is going to go down. So we've got our back up against the wall a little bit, so we're going to have to try and pull some magic out of our arse somewhere, somehow. But before we get into the race, I think it's time we go to qualifying. Alright, so here we are in the garage, and as you can see, it is raining for qualifying here for the final race of the season. Dry race, however, so I've completely gone for a full dry setup, obviously thinking ahead to the race. Wouldn't be surprised if everybody else follows suit. Also, I'm running a different camera angle for this final race. Borrowed it off... well, just somebody else. But anyway, coming across the line for our first lap, 17.4 wasn't great. We're suffering a little bit from overheating, particularly on the front right. But decided to go, or try go for another lap straight after. Didn't work, made a few mistakes a bit later on in the lap, so I backed out of it, went for a cool down lap, and now as you can see, we're going again. Pete, provisional pole position on a 17.2, I think that was. 2.5 tenths up at the moment though as we exit the first sector. As we cut on to the end of the lap, we're about 3-4 tenths up as we come to the final corner. We're about a tenth and a half up on the Mercedes provisional pole time. X-Revolution and Crossy, P3 and 4 at the moment. No idea where Darren and Swaggy are, but I've got one eye on both of those guys as well. Across the line, I think this is going to be provisional pole position, and it is on a 17.0. And felt like a pretty decent lap, but I didn't feel like that was going to be enough, so I waited almost to the end of the session, and here is a final lap. I'm going to walk you guys through the whole qualifying lap. Run through the centre S's wasn't great, went a little bit deep into turn 1 and kind of compromised my line a little bit. Then into the braking zone, into the left-hander. Missed the apex a little bit there. We definitely could have been a bit more aggressive, gaining some time back on traction though, so we're still right with our delta, so we can still definitely gain time. Turning a little bit too early there. We've lost time on the delta as we come back up the hill. But I'm not going to lie, on the last lap, which you saw about 2 minutes ago, the middle sector was not great. And as you can see, we're just gaining time now, back in the green, which is what we need. And I definitely feel like a high 16 is possible. As you can see, the delta just rising ever so slightly, so we are on for an improvement. Purple to the middle sector. Lost a little bit of time right on the apex, but we should gain it back on traction, and we are. Almost a tenth and a half up as the long run up to the finish line now. Take the narrowest line possible, and this should be a high 116 across the line for a 116.8, and I think that should be enough to keep its provisional pole position. Pete currently in P2, Darren P3, and as we cut on to the end of the qualifying session, that is how it ended up. So we take pole position for the final race of the season. Our championship rival alongside us in P2, Darren P3, Plebs, Toddster, Revolution, Crossy, Swaggy, Aaron, and Contrast rounding out the top 10. So there's your qualifying order for the final race of the season. Alright, here we are on the grid for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Obviously, everybody will get to start on a brand new set of whatever tyre they like, obviously considering that it was raining, so undoubtedly everybody will be starting on soft compound tyres. Maybe a couple of the guys at the back might try something a bit different. Definitely keep an eye on the likes of the two Renaults, and maybe Crossy. He's been able to get some pretty decent results as of late, particularly in other races that we've been in as well. He's definitely picked some speed up in the last few months, so he could be he could be one to watch out for as well in this finale, but as everybody would know, I've only got eyes set on one man, and that is that man in the silver arrow right behind us. But as I said at the start of the video, I do have to compromise on that a little bit, being that Darren is right behind me as well. Swaggy's back there a little bit as well, so I've got to watch out for those two, because I am 99% sure there's going to be some dirty tricks at play from at least one of them. So hopefully we can avoid that and get our second championship.
Keep an eye on the lights. The start sequence will begin as soon as the grid has formed. Be ready with the clutch.
Alright, we are ready. 36 laps ahead to crown the champion for Season 5. Here we go. 3, 4, 5 red lights. And away we go for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Looks like a pretty decent start compared to Pete Crichton. We should be able to get the lead into Turn 1. And we do. So far so good. We've got the start and we're in the lead. It's exactly what we needed. Down through the centre S's for the first time. We got a little bit of a gap over the Mercedes driver. Darren 11 maintains P3 as well. Not really what I needed. I was hoping someone might have been able to get him off the start, not going to lie. But unfortunately that has not happened. So Pete and Darren still right behind us. Now, one crucial thing that I must say in terms of the championship situation, probably a bit odd to be talking about that right at the start of the race, I know, but anyway. Basically, all we have to do is finish one spot behind Pete, no matter where he finishes, and we will win the championship. Now, this is where it does get a bit awkward, because if Pete wins and Darren gets second and we get third, then Pete's going to win the championship. And personally, there was a conversation about Wednesday. It was either Tuesday or Wednesday, 3-4 days before this race took place. And I was very adamant about just how frustrated I was that Darren was back for the finale, because I knew exactly what the game plan was for those guys. They were going to try and work together and, you know, hold me up and screw me over. And, you know what, it's not the first time something like that has happened to me, not going to lie, so we'll do what we can. But coming on to lap 3, we've been able to maintain a pretty decent gap over Pete. We've actually dropped Darren 11, which is good news for us. Cutting on to lap 9, and as you can see, we've got basically 2 seconds to the Toro Rosso driver, so we're just starting to stretch out these guys a little bit. You can see the gap from Darren back to whoever is in 4th and 5th. You can't even see them on the mini-map, so we've absolutely bolted in this first stint. I'm not going to lie, I was going absolutely hell for leather. I was not leaving anything on the table in this first stint. I wanted to try and get away, do everything I could to try and stretch out the gap between like myself and Pete, or Pete and Darren. But anyway, into the pits at the end of lap 14. Darren come in at the end of lap 13, so he'll have 1 lap undercut on us. Pete stayed out there, which is a bit of a surprise. I didn't expect that, to be honest. I thought he might have followed me in, but anyway. Release. Nice stop from the boys onto the medium tyres. You can see a group of cars go past there, and you can see Darren on the mini-map. Where is he? There he is, with the fastest lap of the race as well. So that's not going to help Pete, because that extra point could really help him in certain scenarios. So he'll be wanting to get that back. But back on the track now, we've still got a solid gap over the Toro Rosso driver. Now, this is where things start to go downhill a little bit. If you look on the mini-map, you can see Crossy just ahead of us, and then there is Swaggy just ahead of him. So cutting on to the start of lap 17, we've caught up to the back of this queue. Now, I will be blunt, Swaggy, in my view, did basically let Crossy go on the front straight. Didn't look like he put up much of a fight, so now we're going to try and get by. And as you can see, this is just a bit ridiculous. And now he's going to try and fight us, so we're going to go really late, try to get around the outside, and he still runs into us. Pushes us off the road by a mile. I shouldn't say I don't know what he's doing, because I know exactly what he's doing. But anyway, on to the start of lap 18. Now we're up behind Crossy. We're going to go for a send into turn 1. A little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact. I do apologise to the Racing Point driver for that, but I really needed to get that done. I couldn't afford to hang around knowing that Pete was now right back under my rear wing. I needed to get that move done. Coming on to the start of the next lap again, and now we're trying to attack Aaron round the outside into turn 1. We've gone a little bit deep though. Will he try and fight back? He's still there, but we get the move done up into P3 now. And as you can see, look behind, he just pulls over and just lets Pete go. Pete actually shoves him off the track there a little bit, which was, that was kind of a heart and mouth moment for me when I actually looked back and saw that. I thought, oh God, don't tell me that there was going to be a crash between those two, but nope. So anyway, we maintain the lead for the moment. Swaggy retires there. It doesn't really come as a big surprise, to be honest. But anyway, going up to lap 20, Pete takes the lead into turn 1. And this is not what we need to happen, because at this point I knew exactly what the game plan was. He was going to start backing me up into Darren, because there was no chance Darren was going to catch either of us at the pace that I was running at the front. We were like 6 seconds clear at this point before we started the battle, and we were only pulling away more and more the more time I spent in the lead. So cutting on to lap 22, we get the move done on Pete, but he tries to come back up the inside in turn 1. Jeez, can't speak English, sorry. Anyway, leaving just enough room. We don't make contact in turn 1, but here we go. DRS slipstream overtake. He'll undoubtedly try and make a move, will he? No, sits in behind us for the moment. And there we go. As you can see, Darren about 5 seconds back still, so I'm trying to do everything I can to keep Pete behind, because I know he's just going to slam on the brakes and back me up into Darren every chance he gets if he gets ahead of me. So 14 laps left for us in this race. Can we hang on? I'm trying to do everything I can, but at this point, I'm not going to lie, the anger levels were really starting to rise. I was really starting to get pissed, mainly because I knew what the game plan was, and personally, I just felt like it was a bit of a joke, to be honest. I mean, I said this pre-race. This whole thing started between me and Pete, and personally, in my opinion, I think it should have ended between the two of us, but apparently that's not the way it's going to happen. So anyway, cutting here into turn 1, Pete goes for a move up the inside, bit of wheel-to-wheel contact, squeezes us on the apex in the center S there, and we almost spin. We're able to catch the car, and not going to lie, I didn't really appreciate that at the time. I was actually quite pissed. I may have swore, but anyway, here we go. Cutting on to lap 24, we're going to try to go around the outside into turn 1 again. He goes really deep, almost squeezes us off the road there, and oh God, we've nearly made contact there. And if I had tried to keep my nose in there, that would have been disaster for the both of us. We both would have spun there. So probably lucky that we actually were just able to get out of the lap. But cutting on to lap 26, we get the move done before turn 1 this time. But he comes back at us again with a demon late move on the brakes. And as you can see, I was none too impressed at him for that, so I didn't really turn right when I usually would. That was mainly just to try and show my displeasure, because at this point I was really getting pissed with what was going on. Down the inside he goes again, and just down there goes on the grass to try and get the overtake done. And at this point, I'm not going to lie, I was really annoyed, because well, you're seeing it firsthand here for yourself. Like, look at this, he's deliberately driving slow. He's trying to back me up into his mate, and at this point I just think this is ridiculous. Like, this is supposed to, and look, he's nearly brake checking us on the exit of the corner. Here comes Darren trying around the outside, so we're going to try and fend him off. We're on the outside of Pete, tries to squeeze us off there, and as you can see, at that point, honestly, I'd had enough. I didn't turn the wheel left, because at that point I was so pissed. I just thought, nope, I've had enough. You know, this was just getting absolutely ridiculous. I was sick of these tactics being played by these two, and you know, I just wanted to race with Pete, but apparently, like I said, that's not happening. But down into turn 1, Darren tries to make the move, and he's hit us, and we're off in the wall. And well, that yeah, I don't know what to say. I mean, if anybody watched the race on stream, you would have knew that there was a lot of people that were unhappy with that. Myself definitely being one of them. I will admit I did move a little bit in the braking zone. I'm not going to hide that fact, but how many times have they done something like that and gotten away with it? That's my response to anyone who says that. But Darren dives up here inside on lap 28, just completely T-bones us just past the apex, and there goes his teammate Revolution, and now we are out of a championship winning position. And at this point I was just getting super frustrated. Well, super frustrated is not even the right word, because I'm just, this is just not going well for us. But anyway, coming on to lap 30, we try and make the move on Revolution round the outside in turn 1, but we go deep, and this is not really helping us at the moment, because now we've got Plevs and Todster right behind us, both on soft tyres. Here comes Plevs round the outside. We're going to try and defend this position if we can, but the grip of the soft tyres just lets him drive clean around the outside. And once again, we are not in the position to win the championship. 3 laps to go. We're going to try and make the move on the Renault down into turn 1, round the outside. Just leaves us enough room. Nothing we can do there. And as you can see, we got Todster right behind us as well. And at this point, I was extremely nervous. The guts were churning, I'm not going to lie. I was really starting to feel a bit second rate right now as well. And the nerves were extremely high. But here we go, cutting onto lap 34. We're going to go for a dive on Plevs into turn 1 from a long way back. And, well, after the race, not going to lie, he wasn't too impressed with that. And I can't say I blame him either, because that was probably a bit of a stupid lunge on my part. So if you're watching, Plevs, I do apologise for that. And, you know, that was my fault, that contact between the pair of us. But anyway, we're still in with a chance here, cutting on to the penultimate lap of the race. This is now or never. This is for the championship. 20 weeks of working my ass off has come down to this. Can we get it done? Side by side with Plevs. Tries to squeeze us, run us a little bit wide there. And here comes Todster. Now we're almost going to be 3 wide coming down into this left-hander. This could be it. Do or die for the championship. Up the inside. Plevs, and he's turned across us and we're round. No, oh my gosh. You are kidding. Oh, that's it, guys. I don't know what to say, to be honest. I mean, I don't want to say anything because, frankly, well, if you follow me on social media, you'll know how I feel about the whole thing, and you'll know what my thought process was after the race. And I'm not willing to comment on that here. That thought process has disappeared, though, I will say. So I've, you know, I'm slightly back to my normal self, I guess. But man, that is just so frustrating. I mean, I said it before the race. The only reason Darren come back was to help basically wipe me out of this race, to gift his teammate the championship, and that is basically exactly what has happened. Like, if it wasn't for Pete backing me up into Darren, then that other thing wouldn't have happened with Plevs. And I got to admit, and again, I'm only going to say this once, and I know there's people that will agree with me and won't agree with me. And to the people who don't agree with me, well, you're entitled to your opinion. You don't have to like me. I know some people don't, and that's fine, because not everybody does. But I think this race was an absolute joke. Pete Crichton wins the race, therefore, provisionally, he is the champion. But, as I said, provisionally. We are in the stewards, and if a big enough penalty is applied, there is a slim chance that we still may be crowned the champion. But I haven't got my fingers crossed on that. But here we go, up to the line, and personally I think that was a pretty crap way to end the season, being taken out by a man who didn't even belong on the track. And what little respect I had for some of these guys, I don't have any more. Alright, so there we go, guys. That's been Apex Online Racing. Hope you guys have enjoyed following me throughout this series. Sorry it had to end that way, but that's just so frustrating. But anyway, until the next video, I'll see you all next time. Have a good one.